Fair warning, in this video I will be talking about some pretty heavy subjects such as abuse, mental health problems, and whatnot. So, for your final warning, your first and final warning, if you are sensitive to subjects that I am about to talk about, like mental health problems and abuse, I kindly recommend you leave this video, just so your feelings are not hurt and all that stuff, you're not uncomfortable. But if you can handle subjects like mental health problems and abuse, stay in this video, if you want. This is your final warning, your first and final warning. Now let's get on to the video. Hi everybody, Ninja Boy here, and today we're going to be taking a look at this new Spiral Staircase album. Your inner world is deeply uninteresting. And if there is one thing I have to say right off the bat, oh my goodness, I was not ready for this album. I was not ready. Because I was not thinking of the heaviness, the emotion, the pure chaos of this album. I was not expecting this album to be that heavy in terms of its subject matter. Here is all of the track ratings and track listing. You can see right here that all tracks are rated perfectly. It is really hard to pick favorites in this album. I want to pick all of them, and some of them could be considered best song of the year in general. Especially in the final three songs, Frozen Circles, No Light Shining Through, and Clawing Your Way Out of Phase Unwillingly. I don't know which one to pick as my favorite. I feel like the song I'm gonna pick as my favorite maybe is Static Dread. Either Static Dread or January Brain in Korean. Or Korean. I'm not good at name pronunciations, so, or names in general, so please excuse me if I do mispronounce it. For a least favorite track, again, really hard, but I guess the journal entries, I gotta pick something. Now, take everything I've said with, I am saying in this video with a grain of salt. Because this album did not come out super long. It came out about 2 weeks or so, like 1 to 2 weeks as the time of recording this video. So please, take everything I say with a grain of salt. I am not the most reliable source of information. So I am about to spit out everything I think of, everything I think that this album is trying to say, the concept and all that stuff. The concept of this album is survivor's guilt, which is definitely apparent in songs like Static Dread, and also by a God of Violence, as the victim was sexually abused very badly. I don't want to say the R word because I don't want this video to get demonetized and taken down, but the victim was abused really badly, and as the album progresses, the person's mental health gets worse and worse and worse and worse. Now, you could make the complaint that this album is a little bit too long. However, I feel like this album earns every single second of its runtime. Not a single second is wasted. Because the length of this album, as onto the 6-track stretch from Static Dread to Clawing Your Way Out of Phase Unwillingly, each track gets longer and longer and longer through that 6-track stretch. And why I interpret that as the person's mental health getting worse and worse. So this album does a really good job at using its length to its advantage. And again, in songs like Static Dread and January Brandon Korean, whatever you want to say, it does a really good job into putting in some parts of the songs. It does a really fantastic job on putting two different moods simultaneously without one feeling out of place never, whether it's the piano, acoustic guitar, vocals, and the glitchy sounds that happen simultaneously in the two songs. The lyrics are also some of the heaviest lyrics I have ever heard in an album. Spiral Staircase has done it, I'm probably gonna say that this is better than I Promise the World self-titled EP. We probably have a new crown for best metal release of the year, but I still want to say more. I still want to tell how great this album was, because like I said, I was not ready for this. I guess what I really need to talk about is the final song again. The final lyrics in the final song are probably the most most important lyrics in the album, saying, "A cold and damp grave, for a cold and rotting body, a journey of failure, that was the boy named Audie." For those that don't know, Spiral Staircase is a project behind one person, a transgender individual by the name of Audie Ellis. And as soon as I saw those lyrics and hear those lyrics happen, I questioned myself, did Audie go through this? Did Audie get abused in some way? And you can think of this as basically an album version of the song Daddy by Korn, which is rather similar to this album. Instead, it's actually a song, and the frontman of the band Korn telling his experience of him being abused. And as soon as I saw that lyrics, I was in complete shock seeing those lyrics. Now, I am not saying that this album is good because Spiral Staircase got abused. No, I am not saying that. I am most definitely not saying that. I am saying that because of the way that they were able to take their story, change it up a bit, and then turn it into this masterpiece of an album. Now, again, take what I say with a grain of salt, because it has not been confirmed, as far as I know, that Spiral Staircase has been through something like this. So just focus on the music with me right now. And the music is some of the most ethereal music I have ever listened to. In all of my years of listening to music, okay, well, this is like the first year that I have been like taking music seriously, but we have been listening to music for our entire lives. I've been listening to music for my entire life. And I have never thought I would come across this beast of an album. I was excited to listen to this album because I have been leaning into more atmospheric post-metal, sludge metal-like music, thanks to bands like Neurosis, with albums like An Undying Love for a Burning World, which is definitely a must-listen. But when I came across this album, I did not think that it was gonna be this good, this impactful, this ethereal, and all that stuff. In all of my years of listening to music, I have never seen something that impactful. I have never heard something so impactful, and I've never felt something so impactful. I am feeling a 10 with the check mark of must listen. Spiral Staircase, congratulations. Your album, Your Inner World, is deeply uninteresting, gets the first ever 10 out of 10 in my metal album review series, and will with no doubt, will be the greatest album to be released in 2026. I know we are only in July. We only have about 5 years to go. I mean, no, not 5 years. 5 months to go. But this album could be considered a benchmark. And maybe might be in my top 5 favorite albums of all time. Maybe. Maybe in like my 7 to 5 range in favorite albums of all time. So with that said, congratulations, Spiral Staircase. You have given a 10 out of 10 for me. I only give 10 out of 10s to albums that 100% deserve it. And this album 100% deserved it. So, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for taking time to taking your time to watching this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, send this video to a friend, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.